Hi, I'm Norman A. Hood, financial advisor and host of the Exit Plan Show. I interview America's top advisors, like today's guest, Marco Salinas, with Credit 360 Business Funding, to help business owners enjoy more personal freedom, grow their companies faster, and transition ownership seamlessly when the time comes. Welcome, Marco.
Thank you, Norman.
I had a tongue twister there in the beginning, so
no problem.
We'll get past that.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. Hey, could you start out and just tell our guests a little bit about your background, your education, and then your career path up until now?
Sure. Well, my career path, so to speak, is a little unique, and it's a little bit different than I think a lot of the, I guess, the traditional methods, so to speak. I don't have a large formal education. I don't have an MBA. As a matter of fact, I'm proud to say that I'm a community college dropout.
Okay.
But the problem was that I was finding myself trying as hard as I could to make the college thing work, but in reality, I was there was a deeper calling, so to speak. And I think that deeper calling was towards the world of entrepreneurship, of just being a small business owner, you know. I believe, in my personal opinion, that college is not for everyone.
Right.
So as I was going to college and I was trying to take these formal classes, I was just finding that it wasn't working out for me. And so it started really bringing down my self-esteem. And I said, well, I guess if I'm not doing well here in college, then I'm just not a smart guy. But then I started being introduced to this world of small business. And I started kind of exploring and learning and reading about these individuals that had started businesses. And you know what? They actually didn't have college degrees, but they had a knack, and they had this passion for whatever it was that they did. And a lot of these individuals were actually able to go on to form large businesses, corporations, some of them enormous, and in doing so, providing jobs for a lot of people underneath them. Now, the people that were working for them, they had a calling to get a college degree and be an employee and that kind of thing, but that wasn't my path. So I was working multiple jobs, putting in a lot of hours, doing really basically crummy things. I had always desired to be a small business owner when I was a kid and that sort of thing. I had a little eBay business right out of high school that kind of first started that process. But then a few years later, I ended up getting married, and then we had children and that sort of thing. And I said, well, I'm a father now, I'm a husband, I got to get out there and I got to work. I got to hustle. So I went out and I was just working, I was actually managing a mini storage facility at the time. Then I started working a second job because I wanted to bring in some extra money. And then I started working a third job to bring in some extra money. And I didn't have a life. My time was completely occupied with what I was doing with work, and I kind of had tucked this desire to be a business owner way in the back of my mind, and I'd almost given up on it. And then there was a point in time where, as I was working one of those jobs, I was delivering pizza, believe it or not, by the advice of Dave Ramsey, financial advisor.
Right.
Said, get out and work a second job, pay off your debt. So I took his advice, and I started delivering pizzas, and I hated every second of it. But I said, hey, I'm paying off my debt. I'm doing what I can to get rid of my debt. It's something. And one of those nights that I was delivering pizzas, I ended up actually getting robbed at gunpoint. And it really put things into perspective.
Yeah.
I came home that night, and I couldn't even tell my wife, believe it or not, because I needed that job so bad. I was in such a bad financial situation that I felt like I couldn't leave that job. I had to get rid of my debt. We were living with family at the time. It was some really difficult times for us. And so I had to keep that from her. And it just tore me up inside. And I said, this is not the path that I dreamed of when I was a young kid.
Right.
And I pictured myself owning a business and being a CEO and all these different things. And here I am on the streets of my city delivering pizza, getting robbed at gunpoint. It took some reflection, but it really hit home. And at that point in time, I think I made a conscious mental decision that I was going to put forth effort to get out of this 9-to-5 rat race and get into the world of business ownership for myself. I also had an individual that was a manager for me that was kind of mentoring me and really just reminding me that I had a lot of talent that was unused and that I should be applying that elsewhere. And so all that kind of fell together, and long story short, I ended up actually working for somebody else in the credit repair space, and that didn't go so well. His business actually pretty much kind of fell apart there. But the good news was I had met an individual that was working for him, and he and I hit it off. And we said, I think there's a lot more that we could offer and bring to the table concerning this service offering, which was credit repair. And so we decided at that point in time that we would go ahead and attempt to start our own credit repair business from scratch. We had no loans, we had no financing, we had nothing. We just had a lot of passion and a lot of desire. Our backs were against the wall, and we did each have a small book of business that we had built, and we said, we're just going to have to go with this. So that was 5 years ago. We've just celebrated our 5-year anniversary in March. We're going strong. We're growing every single year. And I cannot imagine myself not being self-employed.
Right.
It's just the right fit for me. And so with that business, we were improving people's credit. But we had a lot of people that were coming to us that were also self-employed, and they were saying, Marco, you've done a great job helping me to improve my personal credit. What can you do to help me? I have a small business. How do I build business credit? And my business partner Jay and I, we looked at each other and we said, that's a good question. We actually, we knew almost everything there was to know about consumer credit, but we were very, very blurry on the topic of business credit. So we set out to learn that industry. And we started devouring all the information that we could in books and seminars and things like that. And we were basically able to gather enough information to where we at least felt that we could start a service offering to assist other business owners in building business credit.
Okay.
And so in doing so, separating their personal credit from their business credit.
Okay.
So that's kind of the condensed version of how I went from delivering pizzas to now owning a few different businesses, one of which is helping individuals to build business credit and get financing in the name of their business.
Okay. You and I just met, and I know a little bit about you. I've read saw your book online, and got some other information. How do you think the people that know you the best, your close friends, your family, how do you think they describe you?
I would say the first thing that would come to mind would be passionate, dedicated. I think those that work with me know that I don't take what I do for granted, and especially when it comes to helping the people that we come in contact with. Because I went through some really tough times and I was down in the trenches, so to speak, I don't take this being self-employed thing lightly. Okay. Because again, it was such a difficult time for me, working these jobs and having to work for other people and things. It was like torture for me. When you're called to be self-employed and you have to work for someone else, it's tough. Right. So now that I have this opportunity, I don't take it lightly, like I said. So I'm very passionate about this and helping people. I cannot risk having a bad reputation. It's not something that I would even remotely dream about. Okay. So I put my 100% all, as well as my companies and my people and my staff, into doing what we do, because I guess to put it point blank, I'm not going back to the 9-to-5 world. Right. I got to make sure that I hedge myself securely and with a nice firm foundation to make sure that we're moving in the opposite direction of the 9-to-5 world.
Okay, great. Good interview. Marco Salinas. For more information about Marco and his company, please check out the show notes for this episode on our website. Thank you.